Okay, Aries, let's talk about it, because the astrology this week and actually through the end of this month is quite difficult for you. And it's really ironic. There's just a stark difference between what's going on in your first house and what's going on in your 12th house. So a lot of surprise blessings, a lot of, illumination that comes out of nowhere. Trust your instincts right now. Your instincts are going to illuminate you. But as far as what you feel and see, and especially what you think about yourself, it's under a lot of duress. There's a lot of stress and challenge there because the sun has squared Pluto. The sun is, of course, in Aries, and it is squared Pluto. Now, later on, what does that mean? Well, we'll get into it. Let's get into the astrology. Aries, this is your weekly tarot card reading from Born Without Boundaries Tarot. It is for Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is definitely an energy reading, and what I do is I use astrology, oracle cards, and tarot cards to divine messages and insights into the energy for you every single week. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so that you know when I upload your favorite content. Aries comes out every single Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's over in Los Angeles. So how is that going to impact you? So when Pluto squares the sun, there's a lot of confrontation and of the self. There's also a lot of ways in which or experiences that you'll have that makes you feel like you're being brought down to nothing to teach you how strong you are. The fact that Chiron is also in Aries is a huge statement of you're going to have a tough week, but it's in order to show you your own strength. Challenges that will take you down a couple of pegs to show you how much you've learned and that you have the strength to take yourself higher than what's happening to you. But you will be challenged, and if you feel like you're being tested a lot this week, you are, and it will continue right through the end of April. The sun is squared to Pluto, but the sun moves into Taurus. I think it's April 20th or 21st. So you're not going to have to deal with it the whole time, but this is definitely that time when all the things that you've learned, all the challenges from the past, all the ways that you've suffered, all the pain that you've been through is now becoming evident of how it's helped you and how it's made you stronger, because you're going to be tested. And this time around, you're going to know exactly how to live up to and pass those tests. Those tests could come in physical form. I would not be surprised, especially with all of this playing out in your first house. Your very physical sign, physical manifestations are quite obvious. This is like those challenges, those physical challenges. If you feel yourself like wanting to challenge yourself physically, push yourself really hard, that's all because it's like Pluto is testing you. Is it wise? Is it smart? Have you been hurt in this way before? Should you be pushing yourself this way? Should you be pushing yourself this hard? Look out for all of those internal conversations that are going to be happening. Also, a time for you to confront any kind of challenges that you've had in the past, especially those physical challenges, with how they've made you feel about yourself, and maybe even how they've made you afraid in ways that you should not be afraid, because it's now challenging that fear itself is now challenging the rest of your life. Instead, how can we deal with this? Faith instead of fear. I read this, I'm thinking of you guys. I read this meme the other day, and it was so impactful. Two things you cannot see: fear and faith. You can't see either of them. So it's your choice which one to believe in. Now, your faith is going to be really illuminated, right? So listen to your instinctual self, listen to your primal self right now. There's a lot of healing and catharsis and wisdom that's happening in Pisces, which is your 12th house. And a lot of great, beautiful abundance that can come from just having faith in the situation instead of reacting in fear. So your biggest challenges will be now, am I going to react in faith or am I going to react in fear? And in your gut, you're going to feel what gives me peace, what makes me feel good versus what makes me feel like I'm about to vomit. it'll easily manifest in your physical space what you should believe based on how it's making you physically feel. So keep an eye on that this week. Let's get into the cards. Aries. Aries. What have you got to tell them, God? What have you got to tell them? In the past, make your dreams real and learn from the past. Okay, this could also be dealing with manipulation or, being caught in somebody else's web. But this is saying you've learned from that. You've also learned how to navigate those situations about being in the presence of somebody who is extremely controlling. This could be a Scorpio or a scorpionic energy. Just a sense of not letting somebody use your past to manipulate you, right? A sense of transcending the past, not just physically, but also emotionally. Happy birthday, Doug Denny. So that you don't feel guilty about the things that you've suffered. Remember, Pluto's also, I think, quincux Lilith. So shame could be, it's like the shame game, right? Somebody trying to manipulate you or mess with you based on what you've done in the past or who you were in the past. And it's like, leave it behind, bitch, because that just ain't me anymore. If that's the image that you want to have of me in your head, then you don't need to have the me in front of you anymore, right? Like, that's a sense of essentially Aries, big old red flag warning, but also this is putting power in your pocket. Don't let somebody manipulate you based on your past or how they see you, what they've experienced with you. And I think some people will try, especially like going out for jobs. This could happen in professional situation. Well, why do I see a 2-year gap here? And, it is like, don't let somebody manipulate you or judge you based on, why? Because I'll tell you why. Because they're doing it for their own ease. They're doing it for their own satisfaction. They're not doing it because they're even looking into you or even actually giving you the attention that you deserve to be given. They're doing it because it's easier for them. So ultimately, there is a sense of definitely confront this. And interesting, like, how come you pointed out the 2-year gap in my how come you pointed out that 2-year gap in my portfolio or on my resume? I'm just interested in why that was interesting to you. That's really interesting to me. Maybe what we can do is instead focus on those things. No, because that's a little too confrontational. But ultimately, ask them the question and see their answer, and then maybe talk a little bit about them, like turning around on them. Like, don't let their manipulation be something that catches you up in the web. You've learned too much from this, and I think that you've also learned how to navigate other manipulative energies, and you've learned to navigate because you have been in a situation with somebody who was very manipulative. This is definitely coming from your past, and it taught you a great deal. Primarily, it's taught you a great deal about who you are and how you should or can respond in this situation, and also your capabilities. And I think that that's one of the benefits and the beautiful kind of like tools in your arsenal this week is 100% that you've been here before. You've been through this. And now you know yourself better, and you've learned how to navigate and really use you to be able to overcome these situations. These kind of, you're going to see it really clearly. Like, sometimes it's hard to see a spider's web. It's not going to be difficult, because once you've seen it and once you know the signs, it's going to be very clear to you, because you know what to look for. This is going to kind of be, it's like your past and your experience is kind of like giving you that like x-ray vision or like that heat vision, so that you can sense it. You'll be able to sense a lot. Like, watch for those tingles. Watch for those primal responses in your body this week, because they're directly associated with stuff that you've learned in the past, and it's like your body and your intuition trying to talk to you and say, girl, boy, you better watch out. Like, this is, you are in a trouble zone here, or you're in the presence of somebody who don't give a fuck, and you're gonna now respond in a very different way. You're not going to ignore it. Don't ignore it. Your body is going to be talking to you through that intuition, and it's going to actually lead you to the most beautiful place, because intuitively, all of those different aspects of yourself, it's like they know better than your consciousness. So really be in tune with your subconscious right now, because it's that's going to lead you through any of the landmines that this very test-filled week is going to try to put you through. Trust those instincts. Watch your words here. That's been coming out a lot for everybody. Why? Because Mercury's heading into Taurus, and that is usually really wonderful energy, solid energy. It's also it's like saying be practical with your words and be economic with your words. Like, don't talk too much. You don't have to say too much. Why? Especially, this is some weird smell, especially because somebody can, easily try to manipulate your words. So this is saying be very economic with your words right now. Listen to somebody, let them do the talking, and be very, very careful, not careful as in paranoid. It's not careful as in paranoid, but it's careful as in self-possessed, knowing that you don't have to explain yourself, because if you do, somebody could be listening and twist that. And then we have transformation is beautiful. So finally being able to transcend a certain aspect of your life, or grow bigger than it, fly above it, fly beyond it. It's you realizing that you've changed, that you're not the same person that you were, and that you have a far greater handle on who you are. There is going to be a challenge. The wonderful thing about this week, I think, is that you're going to see how people are trying to needle you. You're going to see how people are trying to poke you. And A, you're going to see them for what they are, for doing it. And B, you're going to be like, wow, normally I would have just been spurred to action and like on their throat. But I see that they want that reaction from me. And I'm just so above that now. Like, I don't even care. Like, what do you, like, point it out to them, be like, why are you poking me? What? I wasn't poking you. No, you legitimately are poking me. Oh, does that piss you off? I'm just saying stop. What if I don't? Oh, I'll just call the cops. What do you want me to say? Oh, or I'll just walk out the door. Like, I don't know what this is, but it's not me. like call them out on their shit, but also not, like, I see, you don't even have to say, I see what you're doing. You could just see what they're doing and remove yourself from the situation. It's legitimately learning how not fighting is sometimes the best fight, because people are trying to take your energy and suck on your energy. It is. They are. They're needling you on purpose. Why? Because it's almost like, when those supervillains in movies, they can somehow suck people's energy from them. That's what it is. It's very vampiric energy. Transcend above it. Transcend beyond it. And realize it. You recognize it. Oh, I get what you're doing here. And then we have life is a mystery, which is, there is an unknown. There is the masked. And it's really interesting, since this is 8 energy and the 8th house is ruled by Pluto. And that's got to do with primal energy too. Oh boy. Life is a hold on. Hold on. Okay, I just wanted to find the right words for you guys. You're not going to be able to see it, but you're going to be able to know it. You're not going to be able to understand it, but you're going to be able to feel it. I want you to trust it. I want you to trust this energy. Because when you know something's acting up, or you hear something, you can't really hear, you can't like, if you took the words and you wrote them down, you wouldn't be able to put them over to a court of law and say, look, this is what they said, right? But you can feel like the subtext of it. You can feel the subtext Believe it. Believe it and fly beyond it. And then we have use your mind wisely. You know, and it's going to be challenging because your mind is going to be looking for what? It's going to be looking for proof. It's going to be looking for logic. It's going to be looking for things to add up. But ultimately, it's not going to be adding up. This is sort of like the ridiculousness that makes more sense than the sensical. Yeah, absolutely. This is also an energy of being able to transcend past what you thought your limitations were. And your limitations have a lot to do with your ego and your pride right now, because that's what Pluto plays on when it squared the sun. Okay, let's get deeper into this. I want more specifics, please, for Aries. We have emotions are running high, super moon. Oh, thank you, God. I can't forget. You have a full moon in Libra. We have a full moon in Libra coming up this Saturday, I believe. And ultimately, this is going to be a very emotional time for you. It's going to be particularly tumultuous and emotional for you. So expect up to 3 days. Expect this weekend. Especially since on Thursday, I believe, Mars, which is your ruling dignitary, it heads into Pisces. And so there is a lot of wanting to react emotionally, wanting to be emotionally reactive. And then when you have Pluto square the sun, which is in Aries, and then Pluto also square the moon, and the moon in direct opposition from you. This is the confrontation of feelings from the past, and maybe the way it has interfered with, interrupted, disrupted, disturbed, or broken up relationships, especially having to do with your family. Something coming to a head and finally popping out, a confrontation happening. And honestly, I have to say, that's unavoidable. That shit's just gonna happen. Ultimately, what can you do? Like damage control? You know, try to make the explosion not so big, because it has to come out. It has to happen. Trying to avoid it you can't. You're not gonna be able to avoid it. There's a lot of emotions that are running high, maybe even from people who hadn't even told you what they feel yet, or you hadn't come out and said it. But whatever has been suppressed is coming to the surface, probably going to come out through words. Ultimately, very good. Immediately, disastrous. FYI. So how do we get through this energy? How is this coming at Aries? Well, how do we get through this energy? Or how is this coming at Aries? Shifting around. Let's see what comes out second time. Okay. There's joy and there's love and there's happiness, and what? It's coming at you through unexpected joy, unexpected pleasure, unexpected living in the moment. And then it's coming at you from an unexpected source of help. That's really interesting. You're going to be very surprised at who helps you versus who stands in your way this week. And the answers are coming from places that you maybe had written off as they weren't valuable. I guess what the universe is trying to tell you right now is please focus on the people who support you, especially this week. Stop undermining them, or if it's not the support that you wanted, you kind of like are writing it off, right? You're not giving it as much attention. Focus, Aries, on who is supporting you, on who is celebrating you, on who is happy to have you around. Focus on those things. This is when you're going to see really clearly, maybe I've underappreciated some people who have really appreciated me, and I've overvalued people who are being really manipulative, who have, not been very supportive or very protective or very helpful. You'll see those traits come out of people, and you'll be very surprised about how it makes you feel about them. It's people that you've given a lot of credit and maybe even held up as your favorite people, are not going to be so favorite after this week, because it's going to be very, very obvious how they've actually been around you to suck off your energy versus the people who just kind of wanted to celebrate you. It's going to come very clear. So this is unexpected help, help from a place that not necessarily you didn't expect, but you underestimated. You didn't think that they had anything to give or contribute, but they do, and you've taken them for granted. Who? What can we expect this who? Aries. 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 Wings of light, you're protected, you're surrounded, you're protected by angels. This is very maternal energy. This is very parental energy. This is very loving and wrap their wings around you. This could also be from somebody who is passed on. And then we have forgiveness. Forgiving. If you've had issues or problems with somebody who's passed on, forgiving yourself, like finally being able to realize how much they love you and put that away. This is a message that comes out from somebody that you've loved that maybe you couldn't get to settle things with completely. This is a sense of, I love you, I forgive you, that message coming through. Powerful. Also being able to forgive yourself because you now feel their love for you. Doesn't just have to be from somebody who's passed on yet. This could also be just from a sense of like forgiving yourself because you're finally allowing yourself to feel somebody's extreme love for you, right? And maybe even forgiving, like allowing yourself to forgive yourself for things because in their eyes, they don't see you that way. But also a sense of forgiving yourself for not realizing what a blessing this individual in your life is. I say parental because this is usually established with Capricornian energy, could be father energy, but it could also very well be mother energy. But it's got something to do with that emotional something to do with family. Especially around the time when the full moon is in Libra, those intimate familiar relationships and those conflicts between the two. This is like something is coming to a head because it really needed to shift your focus back to real love and unconditional love. Let's go on. We got to move on. Let's go to tarot. I'll see you guys in the extended. The links are below.